Hey everyone, and welcome to Take 5, the show where we make top 5 lists of all things revolving movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nate Richard.
I'm Tyler Landis.
And I'm Michael Smith.
And today, we're doing top 5 Netflix shows. So, do you want to begin? Tyler?
Do you want me to say the whole list, or do you
No,
want me to
just
do a
start with
five?
your number 5.
Okay.
Then Michael will share his number 5, I'll share mine, and then we all kind of just alternate from there.
Sounds like a plan. All right, so in my number 5 spot for these Netflix shows, I have Voltron. DreamWorks did a remake of the show for Netflix. It's a Netflix-only thing, and let me tell you guys, this show is pretty amazing. And they got the art style is like a mixture between like anime, it's like a regular cartoon, DreamWorks style. It centers around our 5 protagonists. We got Pidge, we got Hunk. Those two are more background-esque characters, and then we got Lance, who seems like our main character, but he's not like really a main character. Like it's because it's all about Voltron. It's about the whole, core of them. And then we have Shiro and Keith. Keith is my favorite. Keith is amazing. Keith is played by Steven Yeun, who is Glenn from The Walking Dead, which is another show I love. Definitely, everyone will tell you this if they've seen the show. The first 2 seasons are the best seasons. I think they're at like season 7 right now, and I think they're doing one more season. Season 8 will be their last season. They were kind of dying off a little bit because they were like doing only like 6 episodes per season, but now in this season 7, I think they're back up to like 14.
My number 5 is Bo Burnham's comedy special, Make Happy. There are no words to how much I love this show. I watched this so much as I was writing my script for my segment during The Real Deal. I was watching this in the background. At the very beginning, he introduces, it's a throwback to where he was sitting on stage as the voice says things, and he's like in a hoodie with red pants looking down. Right. And then this one starts and he comes off from the side of the stage and shoos the person off stage because it's not really him. It immediately gives you a distrust of what you're seeing up here isn't real, which plays into his whole point throughout of everyone is a performer, because all of his shows end up going back to performing, and he didn't think it was relatable. Mm-hmm. But we all perform. We all have social media. Everyone tries to curate and show their best form. So we're all constantly performing for everyone all the time. The second one, he's talking about how he went to Chipotle and he tried to get all these ingredients in his burrito, and it was too much, and it couldn't be filled up. What most people have analyzed that to be is an analogy of when he became famous and started doing shows, no one told him how much to do. So he overfilled his burrito, so to say, and did too much, took too much on, and now he wants to take a step back.
So my number 5 is Narcos. This is the show on Pablo Escobar and the DEA. They're trying to go catch him. It has Pedro Pascal, who's from Game of Thrones. Right. It has Boyd Holbrook, who was in Logan, and he was just in The Predator that came out this past weekend. And it also has Ragnar Mora, who, if you haven't heard of him, I think he's a big Mexican actor.
Right.
But this show, it feels a lot like an action movie. It has action pieces and all of the intense just chase sequences. It feels like Sicario.
From what I've seen of it looks a lot like an action show, or Sicario, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Pedro Pascal, he can be in anything, and I will find him charismatic, even though he's not playing the best person. I just find him extremely just likable, even though Hollywood lately has a knack of making him a villain.
All right, I'm gonna pop my collar here, because I like to live dangerously. When I'm talking about the end of the fucking world, okay, I'm gonna bleep myself. It's the show about these 2 teens who are not good people. It starts off they're just rebelling, as normal teens do, but then some guy tries to rape. I was gonna say sexually assault, but he tries to rape the one girl, and they kill him, and now they're on the run for the rest of the show. It's a really dark show. A huge thing I like, and all of the things on my list here, is that I just love character building, and the characters in this are built so well. They're so real, I guess, is the thing. Even though it's a dark show, it's hilarious. It's just, there's a character in it named Frodo. All of the performances are 10 out of 10, honestly.
Okay, well, moving on. My number 4 is the I guess, pseudo reality show Nailed It. It's
Haven't heard of
it's
that.
the one where they bring in a bunch of amateur, like 3 amateur bakers per show, and they give them these like what you would see on like Pinterest or Instagram, these fancy cakes
Okay.
that no normal person can look at and go, this is how you make that. But like they give them instructions and everything, but the whole idea is like they have a time limit, they have to make this, and whoever makes it the best, like taste-wise and visually, wins and goes. And like there's 2 rounds. The first one gives away like a piece of kitchen equipment, and the second one is actually for the money. And it's just a great, I want to sit down and watch something show, because it's super entertaining to watch people do this as you're sitting at home going, yeah, I couldn't do that, but let's laugh at these people.
So my number 4 is American Vandal, which I know might appear on someone else's list later in the show.
Michael.
But okay, so the first season is about Jimmy Tatro plays a guy who's accused of spray painting penises on all of the teachers' cars. And that sounds like a very sophomoric kind of show, but it's insanely smart. This show is basically a parody of like Making a Murderer. Have you seen Making a Murderer?
I have, yes.
Yeah, it's
It's-
the true crime documentary.
Yeah, it's parodying in our obsession, like our culture's obsession with true crime documentaries. Everyone's playing it entirely just seriously. They're playing
Yeah.
it with a straight face. Sometimes the show's like an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
I mean, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's highbrow, but it's like,
No.
if you don't know you're watching a mockumentary,
Yeah.
that's the point of you're like, this is a weird documentary.
One thing I really love about the show, even though it's a comedy, it's a mockumentary, we all know it's fake, I got really invested in the show. Like, I personally like season 1 a little bit better. Maybe it's because, what's the main guy's name?
Dylan, yeah.
Dylan. I really liked his character a lot. I thought he was hysterical. And he kind of reminds me of people from, like, that I have known or have encountered.
I just feel like in season 2, I don't remember the actor's name, but he plays Kevin, does such a great job of bringing that character to life. It's the kid that was out there and that we
Right.
all
The
knew in high
fedora
school.
wearing kid.
Yeah. That was out there and we all knew,
The
but just
fedora
like,
wearing
but just
kid.
like
We all know that kid.
everything like that came towards him, he just steered into it. So it was, he feels more like a high schooler because he has like outbreaks and realizes he does stupid stuff. I feel like the show just does a great job of actually portraying high school.
All right, so my number 3 is a very disgusting show called Big Mouth.
Yes.
Oh god.
This
that
show is gross, but it's so good.
It's definitely something where when you walk into the room, you're just like, what is
For
happening?
those of you at home that don't know what it's about, it's puberty. It's just about kids going through puberty. Now, it's an animated show. If it wasn't, that would be weird. If you just really love a gross comedy, this is the show to definitely check out. If you don't like kids talking about puberty, then don't watch this show. It's
I love that
yeah,
kid.
it's
an
definitely
amazing show.
wacky and out there.
it's so strange. But yeah, it's from the mind of Nick Kroll, and Nick Kroll is just a really strange human being.
So my number 3 is a show that came out this year, end of last year, called Altered Carbon. It's based off
I feel that's really
a
good.
series of novels. It's a sci-fi show, which is probably one of the reasons why I like it so much. But the idea is humanity figured out a way to basically download brains into what they call these stacks, and it's literally just a digital thing that goes in the back of your neck. It's also led to immortality, and there's like resistances against using stacks and everything because the richest, they literally live in the clouds. They literally are looking down on the entire society. And basically what happens is Takashi was part of a resistance that was fighting. It's kind of convoluted and hard to explain in just like a short blurb because there's so much going to it and you learn throughout the season.
So I should check
But-
it out, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nate, your number.
My
3?
number 3 is Glow. So Glow stars Alison Brie, who I'm a big fan of, and I
So
just
good.
think this show is very funny. It's just, it covers like important topics.
Yes.
It goes on stereotypes, abortion,
Yes. Yes.
wolves.
Oh, wolves.
I love these characters so
Oh.
much.
Such a good show.
It's an easy binge. Mark Maron.
Oh, Mark Maron is
He
hilarious.
is awesome in this show. I'm mad he didn't get nominated for an Emmy.
Seriously, oh my
Because
god.
Glow is awesome.
Glow is so good. Oh,
Speed
my
things
God.
up a bit.
Yes. My number 2, though, Stranger Things. All right, everyone should have a Stranger Things in like their top 10 because Stranger Things is, you guys know Stranger Things. Everyone knows Stranger Things. All right, it's about these kids, and there's some weird stuff happening in the fictional town of Hawkins, Indiana. It's not a real place. Basically, there's evil demons coming from the upside down, and they're ruining these kids' lives. It's just such a good show. The characters are so great, and like it just reminds you of your childhood. And I think that's what really makes the show for me.
Okay, my number 2, which will be quick because we're covering something that's already on Nathan's list, is American Vandal.
Fine.
It's a great show. Watch it. I love it. It's amazing. It'll cover like real life issues and then pull you right back in with a poop or a dick joke.
So my number 2 is also Tyler's number 2, and that is Stranger Things.
Good.
I debated putting this at number 1 with my other, the one that actually ended up being number 1. But this show very much feels like an Amblin film, like a film produced in
definitely.
the 80s by my Lord and Savior, Steven Spielberg. I love him so much, but I love the show, I love the cast, I love the story is so addicting.
It is.
You
it's so good.
just get
And
so
it's-
wrapped up
And
in
it's
it.
one of those shows, like, it's a Netflix show, so it just goes, the one goes right into the other. The episodes just go right into each other, and it's a show you have to binge. You can't sit and be like, oh, I'll come back to it, because you're so invested, and you're just like, I have to finish the whole series right now. Anyway, I already told all of you,
Yeah.
my number 1, right? I'm a sucker for spoilers. Glow. Okay, we already talked about it. We're talking about it again. It's just so good. It's about the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. I'll come up with my own review of this, like a 40-minute review. It'll be a whole thing. It won't be on The Real Deal because I don't think you guys will let me do that. But just, check it out. It's on Netflix original. Each episode's like 30 minutes long. Binge it. It's a good time.
My number 1 is Black Mirror.
Okay.
It's a show I had to pick.
Twisted.
It's one that's less, like you don't have to binge it because each episode is its own contained story and again covers very real topics. It's called Black Mirror because when the phone or a TV is off, it's a black mirror that reflects yourself. And it's really about the impact of technology and lives and shows many of the extremes of it. I will suggest if you're binging it, you're gonna want to take breaks because some of the episodes screw with your head a lot.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So I've been hesitant to watch it, but
If you want an episode to start on that isn't as out there and disturbing, San Junipero is it is the tamest episode and actually has an uplifting ending. Like it's a really good hour-long episode and honestly is probably still one of the best episodes.
My number 1, I think you may all know it already, because this was the first thing I ever talked about on Real Deal. That's BoJack Horseman. This is a show, it's a cartoon about a talking horse, yeah. But it doesn't feel like a cartoon at times. It is the most human show on television. It deals with mental illness, something that I struggle with in my life. It deals with it it's so raw, it's so lifelike. I think a lot of people on Twitter, there's hot takes like, oh, the show deals with mental illness better than like 13 Reasons Why.
And it
And
does.
it does.
Oh,
It
yeah.
does
This show
by leagues.
goes into the head of BoJack so well. Will Arnett, he should win an Emmy, especially for an episode that was just in season 5, which was just a monologue. It was 25 minutes of just him giving a eulogy at a funeral. It's an emotional show. Every season, the 11th episode, the second to last episode, is always like the most heartbreaking. That is yet again in season 5. Because I just binged season 5 like in a day over this weekend, and it left me being an emotional mess. Season 5, I won't spoil it. It's a sad, but it's an optimistic ending.
okay.
I love this show so very much.
I'll have to check it out.
One more thing I want to say about this show. Season 1 isn't that good, but it keeps on building upon itself each season. And like season 1 was okay, season 2 was really good, season 3 was great, season 4 was awesome, and then season 5 I think is a masterpiece of television. It is one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen.
I'll have to check it out.
So that's it for today's episode of Take 5. So I'm Nate Richard.
I'm Tyler Landis.
And I'm Michael Smith.
We'll see you guys next time.